The voice of the Blue Eagle, Radyo Katipunan 87.9.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atin sa loob, sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, tunong at tulong. Ipag the Blue Eagle, galing hiting at tigil, blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan.
Let us understand mental health and explore how we can take care of our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Welcome to your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits with Pat and B, here on MindEd.
Sa'yo sumisilong kapag ang puso ko'y pagod.
Prati kong iniintay eh. Teka lang.
I think we're on, yes. Hello.
Okay, welcome to MindEd, your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits. My name is Pat.
And this is B. I am just a letter.
Okay.
And welcome.
Welcome.
Wala tayong cue ngayon eh. But I
Tama.
think we got it right. Yeah? Tumawa
I
muna
hope
tayo.
so. Okay
And
lang
I
yan.
think naman.
There's no getting used to this, I think. But that's fine.
And it's
We
fine,
always
yeah.
welcome
Nothing
it with openness. Yes, you are all on cue. Okay, yes. Nice. Good job.
We're getting better at this. Okay, okay. So,
Perfect daw. Okay. It's November. Oh my goodness.
it is.
I don't know how you feel about that. Sige nga. So, ang kamustahan natin is not just how have you been over the past week and over the past long weekend, but also with the fact that it's already November. So, go.
Actually, hindi ako handa sa question mo ha, in fairness. Pero, I guess okay, unahin natin. The weekend first.
Sige.
Okay, isa lang. So, weekend, so it was Undas weekend. But of course, we
Yes.
cannot go to, alam mo yun, the usual, like, traditions that we have. So, we just spent the day, like, in quiet. We prayed as a family. Of course, as a family. But yeah, so actually, yun lang naman. It's just sad, but wala eh. Kailangan eh. We have to stay home and it's not open. It's not open anyways. And then, I actually still can't believe it. November na. Like, in my head, parang August pa lang yata. No, I'm kidding. Pero, it's been, parang feeling ko nasa dream pa rin tayo. But, you know, like, we have a routine na din kasi.
Yeah.
At least for us. Yeah. In like, sa family side, work side, other stuff. Like, there's a routine already. So, parang, okay, it's surreal that we're still here, but at the same time, there's already acceptance, sort of. I mean,
Yeah.
And yeah, we make do. Like, ang daming projects pa din. Right? I
Yep.
know marami ka rin projects. I mean, there are
Yeah.
a lot of things going on around our
Mm-mm.
lives outside of ourselves. So, yun.
Okay.
So,
So
what
apart
was
from
the
Undas
very
weekend,
best?
ano pang ginawa mo?
I slept. Ang
Sarap.
dami ko tulog ata. Yes. Yeah, kind of. And then, although hindi ako natulog last night because of some reasons. But, okay naman.
Hindi naman multo yan. Yung
No.
some reasons. Okay.
No. Yes, hooray for the many tulogs. Yeah, pero okay naman. Natulog ako. I remember I slept early and then, ano bang ginawa ko? Parang wala eh. But I know it was a good rest. It was a good break.
Mhm.
Ayan. And then actually, pagbalik nga ng Tuesday, akala ko Monday. So, pagdating ng Wednesday, akala ko Tuesday. So, ngayon, feeling ko Wednesday. Tapos parang, Friday na bukas. Yay.
Galing.
So, yeah.
That's usually how
that.
the week works.
Mm.
Usually
No,
naman.
kasi in my head, Wednesday pa lang. Yun.
Fair enough.
Because
Yeah.
Monday, we were
Yeah.
out on Monday.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, tapos kasi 'di ba nagkaroon nilang ng typhoon.
Yes.
So, we've been monitoring the news. Grabe, I hope and I pray that everybody's safe now and they're getting the help that they need.
Yes.
And also, yeah, okay naman kami. I mean, we're lucky enough, I guess, we're blessed enough na parang nag-flicker lang konti yung power.
Okay.
But not for more than a minute. As in, parang nag-flicker lang siya. Parang may bagyo, flicker, and then tapos na. Ganun lang siya. Ganun lang nangyari. So, okay na rin naman. I mean, considering. Yan.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you?
Usually on Undas weekend, because Undas weekend or Undas week coincides with my older sister's birthday. So usually what happens is we spend most of the day starting at it's often at 8 a.m. pa lang.
Okay.
Nasa cemetery na kami ng pamilya ko with my lola, my titos and titas and my cousins. And we spend most of the day there. So we will bring lunch or parang so we take it as an opportunity to like do this huge picnic thing. Tapos usually kasi sa cemetery kung saan nakalibing yung lolo ko, there are lots of concessionaires. So like mga food stalls, fast food, ganyan, mga milk tea, ganyan. So we stay there all the way until merienda time. And then siguro we'll leave at around 4:30 or 5. So we kami just to, prepare for dinner. And the dinner is my sister's birthday celebration. Also with the family. So it's a huge family gathering and it's a whole day affair. Pero, this year it's a little more, I don't want to say somber, pero I guess it's a little more laid back na lang. So it was just us. So my family, my mom, my siblings just came from Batangas on the weekend because they dive. We would on average we would go, but because we have a newborn, hindi kami nakasama din. Also because it was her 6th week checkup, so 6 weeks na si Cassie ngayon. Yay! But anyway, so galing sila Batangas. And they were in for a rude awakening nung Sunday, November 1 kasi I think it was DENR or Pag-asa that called the resort mismo that said everybody needed to evacuate at like 5:30 in the morning. So lahat sila nagrambulan sila kasi we have to evacuate. Usually to get to the dive resort, we need to take a boat. So they had to arrange the boat pa and everything and all of the things and all of the stuff. So yeah, medyo magulo yan. Pero okay lang naman sila. Hindi naman sila inabutan ng bagyo.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. What else happened? So we also had this huge Zoom thing on my father's side of the family where we did like not living rosary, but we prayed the rosary with my dad's siblings who are in the States.
Mhm.
Prayers to the people in the States now too, by the way. Not that there's anybody watching from the States, I think. But
We don't know.
yeah, maybe. Hopefully. But yeah, it's a big week for the people in the States also because it's election.
Election season. Yeah.
I'm actually watching the polls.
Right now?
myself. Not right now. I'm watching our show. But
Okay.
the polls are open on the
Mm.
another tab. Somebody's getting pretty close. So
Okay.
I'm not gonna say anything about that. Basta malapit na.
Do
And
your
you can see the
research,
smile
guys.
on my
Yan na
face
yan.
na din. What that means or how that
Okay.
relates to me. So okay, yay. Work-wise, pretty stable. So I'm happy. I'm happy for whatever's going on. It's the second quarter also. Kakasimula lang na yung second quarter na mga Ateneo students natin. So
Mhm.
good luck guys. Kaya niyo yan.
Yes.
Naka one quarter na kayo.
Oo nga
Parang
eh.
marunong na dapat, hindi man dapat. As if it's prescriptive. But sana marunong na kayo i-manage yung e-learning natin. It's a
Oh yeah.
distressing.
Ang dami natin natutunan kay Father J-Boy last week.
Actually,
Speaking
yes.
of, birthday niya tomorrow. Happy
Tomorrow,
birthday, Father
yes,
J-Boy!
November 6. Yeah, happy birthday, Father J-Boy. I-greet ko siya bukas. But yeah, I don't know. It's so much is going on. And that's why we wanted to kind of like strip it back a bit by not having to prepare too much for the show. Again, similar to, was it 2 weeks ago? Yes, it was just 2 weeks ago.
3. 2? 3.
2 episodes ago.
Some weeks ago.
Yes. Uncountable. Anyway, yeah. So this is another show where we didn't where we are completely just open and in for the ride because we have another edition of what?
Strangers. Ay, nickname pala natin.
Life lessons from strangers.
Your
Yes.
face.
I know, right?
It just went like,
What?
I'm kicking this person out of the show. Parang ganun.
No. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Life
So
lessons
with that said,
with
we'll say this at the end of the episode anyway. Also, but we're doing a call for, we're calling out for more strangers or people who wanna call in. Syempre, wag niyo sabihin sa amin.
Sa
Kasi
amin.
hindi na kayo stranger. Pero like, ano ba yung mechanics ng call for strangers natin?
We
B?
can they can message the Radyo Katipunan page.
Yes. Facebook.com/Radyo Katipunan.
Yes. Or
879 FM. 879 lang pala. Wala F.
yes. Or they can email radyokatipunan@gmail.com.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
So either DM, direct message the Facebook page, or send an email.
Or the
because
IG
we'd love to
din.
hear from you.
Yeah.
Or the IG, yes, also very active on social media. For those of you who are unfamiliar, what this segment is or what this format is we get calls from, well, effectively strangers, and we kind of pick their brains about what their biggest, most significant life lesson is that they'd like to share with our listeners. And what I mean by picking their brain is like exploring things like history or what the applications of said life lessons are and how they've maybe come to this or to that realization about, this big message that they want to share and kind of rip it apart. No, I'm just kidding. We unpack it and we try as much as possible to root it back. Well, not naman necessarily, but not necessarily to like scientific stuff or anything, but just, I guess, like looking at how that might apply into our own personal lives too.
Yeah.
So, with that said, let's have our stranger, shall we? Sige nga.
Okay. Hello, stranger. Are you
Hello,
there?
stranger.
Hello, Pat and Dee.
Oh, it's a female. Okay.
Hello.
Or am I assuming that it's a female? I'm sorry to make that assumption.
Yes,
Oh, we can hear naman.
naman.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And you'd like to be addressed as
What
an
is your
alias?
pseudonym?
Yep, my pseudonym for the night, I'm introducing myself as Joe March, as in
Little
the
Women.
writer and, rebel literary character from Little Women.
I will be honest, I've only recently watched Little Women. Only recently, as in by the at the behest of my wife, because she's like, I want to watch Little Women, and I'm like, no, it's for
What?
girls, and I'm like,
What?
wala naman, and then she's like, wala naman problema doon. Totoo naman, wala mga problema doon. So we watched it. So yun. So I watched Little Women, and I enjoyed it. In fact, yeah. So
Hey,
sige. Yes.
Which one
what?
did you watch? The new one or the remake or the one from
Oo nga.
the
The one with Emma Watson.
The one in streaming.
Oh,
Yes, the
Okay,
one
the
in
new
streaming.
one.
So that's the new one. What's the old one? There's an old one.
with Winona
There's an
Ryder.
old one.
Winona Ryder.
Yep.
Okay. I
Uy,
think,
papanoorin niya ulit yan.
will I be interested to watch that? Yes, I will be interested.
Yes.
Okay.
I think
Sige,
you
game.
would.
All right, but thanks for the small tidbit. So I guess you're a fan of the Little Women, maybe the book, not the movie, or both. But sige, tell us, Joe March, or can we call you Joe?
Yep,
Uh,
Joe's fine.
What's your life lesson for us today?
I actually chose Jo March also because I identify with her in a lot of ways. So writing is also
Okay.
my life passion. And I have been a rebel many times in my life. So
Okay.
I've rebelled against things people believe me to be or even things I believe myself to be. And
Okay.
syempre, expectations of me also. Which leads me to the lesson life seems to teach me over and over again. That is, that my worth comes from within, as gifted to me by God. And it's something that I can't chase anywhere else or find anywhere else. Um, I'm not sure. I haven't really listened to a lot of your shows. I'm not sure if people have come forth with the same. But yeah, that one has been a constant learning and relearning throughout my life.
Unfortunately, people have said that already on the show. De, joke lang, di pa naman. So it's
Okay,
fairly
then.
unique.
Let's choose a different stranger.
De, joke lang. No, I'm very excited to explore that.
Mhm.
And I'm very excited to hear you say that because I think that's a very powerful realization and something that I think a lot of people would benefit from
Mhm.
learning more about. Kasi, okay, small context lang. One of my advocacies as a psychotherapist and as a mental health trainer / advocate is, apart from mental health awareness, is also self-compassion. Parang kumbaga, I've made it part of my mission as part of my profession to really teach people or to help people come to a point where they really love themselves, and part of loving themselves is knowing what they're worth. And you probably have heard, or maybe you have even experienced yourself, that a lot of people draw their worth from different things, whether it's from their relationships or their families or their jobs or how much money they have, and so on and so forth. So to hear you say that your worth comes from within is very exciting for me to hear personally. So salamat. Pero baka mali yung assumption ko nung ibig sabihin ng within mo. So explore muna natin yun.
Let's unpack.
Yeah.
Unpack. Sige. So many questions, my gosh. Okay, the first
Isa
one
lang.
might be, what does that mean necessarily for you? That your worth comes from within?
I suppose it stems from when I was a child. As kids, we rely on our parents, on people around us, right, to teach us things and to help us make our way through the world in life. And while I know I have been loved, sometimes love can be expressed in different ways, and perhaps the way it was um, given to me or expressed may not have been something I could understand, especially at a young age. So from a young age, I struggled already with a lot of criticism and shoulds and pressure And being told one thing or told something a lot of, sorry, for most of my childhood, I suppose, you start to believe it also about yourself. And they may not have been good, or they may have come from a well-intentioned place, but perhaps it wasn't something that was helpful necessarily. I'm speaking a little bit vaguely, but
It's fine.
Okay lang
the,
yan. Okay lang.
the
Yeah.
It's okay.
Sige.
so
Yeah.
anyway,
Go.
yep, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, you first. Go.
Yeah, so I was able to form an image of myself as I grew older, and unfortunately, for during my early adolescence and even early adulthood, I really felt I lacked confidence, even if many people would express good qualities about you. It didn't matter because I believed a certain thing about myself. So that was really hard to um, break. And again, that's one of the things I had to rebel against. I had to build up my confidence,
Okay.
um, coming from that traumatic experience. I would say from childhood.
Okay.
So
All
there.
right.
Hmm.
Can I ask a question though? So,
Sure, sure.
how are you able to, without saying any specifics or mentioning any specifics, how are you able to break, uh, and rise above the criticisms and the trauma that you mentioned?
Mm. By making a lot of mistakes. It was at the expense of um, years and a lot of heartbreaks, but it was the only way I could break away from um, the beliefs that were instilled. Sorry, the beliefs I had of myself and the things that were instilled in me of being unworthy and not enough and having to be one thing in order to be considered lovable. So I had to make a lot of mistakes. Um, I think um, a part of me consciously made those mistakes just to test like how far I could go and to see also who sticks around or what my parents would say or my family what they would say. But through those mistakes, those were the things that taught me and showed me that um, I am worthy, I am lovable, even if I didn't work for it. So like it, just to be human is enough. Yeah, there.
Sige.
Did I answer the
Oo
question?
naman.
Oh.
Iiyak ako. Sige. The joke lang. Hindi naman.
Virtual
Ah,
hugs, guys.
oo. Ah, it's hard, parang speaking, I guess, from personal experience. It's I think a lot of us, maybe not just you and me, but a lot of us are raised sort of in the same way where whether you were told directly or you've gained it from something or from somebody indirectly, but you're told one thing about who you are or how you're supposed to live your life or what it means to be, for example, for me, what it means to be a man or what it means to
Mhm.
be um, a human being and so on and so forth, and it's heartbreaking sometimes to find out along the way that you're wrong or it was wrong. And you said that part of how you've come to this realization or to how you've defined your self-worth was through making a lot of mistakes. Now, I'll be very honest, that doesn't really happen for a lot of people. Making
Mhm.
mistakes and leading them to something that to an answer that is meaningful. Um So I don't know. It's strange, but also interesting to me. Um, and I'm just, I guess, grateful for you and or in on your behalf that all of your mistakes have led you to this beautiful thing. So I guess I can't help but be curious na parang like what mistakes are these?
Mm-mm.
And how have you turned these mistakes around
Oh my gosh.
to this?
First, thank you also for sharing your experience with it. And you're right. I am blessed because the mistakes have led me to a good place. And that is not to say that it was at all easy. It was very difficult. It was a difficult road. Um, and I still struggle, but it was through the help of a really loving support system. Even the same people that once told me that I wasn't enough. So they also, of course, played a part in the rebuilding of me. The kinds of mistakes I made. Um, I have gone into this with a psycho spiritual therapist also, who I've gone to just in 2019. But the journey started really since 2012. So it was a long road. And that road has been paved by many wrong relationships. So my coping mechanism, um, the way that I tried to resolve that broken relationship from my childhood was through recreating it in the relationships I had with men. So I often chose unavailable men, whether emotionally unavailable or I often towed the line between friendship and romantic with people that were in, relationships. And I always told myself that we're not doing anything wrong because we're just quote unquote friends. But I realized later on I was trying to get them to choose me so that I would know I was worthy. I needed to compete for 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 that to be chosen. I needed to be chosen. I needed to compete so that I can tell myself I'm lovable, I'm worthy. So that's just one example, but it also plays out in different things, even at work.
Mhm.
Um, you seek validation, and then if I don't have that validation, I feel so uneasy. So I venture into like people pleasing also. So that's another manifestation and mistake, I guess.
Mhm.
So it really is pervading in all relationships, and I am lucky because I learned about myself, like the reason why I became like this, and then but knowing doesn't mean I am never triggered. Um, there are still temptations. I'm still constantly tested and triggered, but knowing it makes me stronger because I can tell myself, you're not really wanting this person. You're just trying to, you know, fill like a longing. So you I can make a conscious decision to not to fall into the same mistake.
Yeah. It's wow, that's amazing. I mean, I am actually amazed by how self-aware you are. Like you have that strong sense of self, no, Pat? You have that grabe yung I mean, not a lot of people nga would really look into themselves and acknowledge what they went through, what they're going through now, how it affects the situation now, your thinking, your decisions that you made.
Mm. Oh my
So,
gosh.
Magbubunot ako ng bangko dahil daw yun sa ano eh, sa therapy eh. De, joke lang, hindi naman. Of course, marami,
But
marami daw
but
siyang sources of.
oh, I mean, it takes two rin naman siguro. I mean, yeah, you've gone through therapy, but what if you're not very open about it and you're not
That's
willing to do
true.
the work,
Exactly.
right? So, oh, congratulations to you, and I'm
Yeah.
really happy that you are in this place now
Yeah.
You
where
guys,
you are.
This is something that I wrestle with
Mm-hmm.
as both somebody who works particularly secularly with people, but also
Mm-hmm.
as a deeply spiritual person. But I've found, or in my experience, what I've grounded myself on in terms of my self worth is really my relationship with with God. And but I also acknowledge that that's not everybody's cup of tea. I guess so. I had this conversation with an uncle of mine. He lives in somewhere else, and he was saying na parang how do you connect with somebody who parang who's never really practiced, or how do you tell a person that this person is loved and lovable, or has, you know, in ano ba yan, parang undebatable self worth and value as a person, without going there, without going to the whole discussion around, well, you were made because of love, because somebody died for you, and all of that. Kasi ako, in my sense, yes, it's true whether or not you subscribe to a specific faith system or religion, that still holds true. But I don't know. So I guess my question here is, number one, is that something that you connect with also, or what, or essentially what is it that you ground your worth on, if not that?
definitely my faith also
Okay.
in God. You're right. It's not for everyone, and I'm not into prescribing the same my own beliefs on anyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but all that is also where I am grounding myself on, as I said at the beginning. It is knowing also that I am loved by God, um, just as I am, and because I am His. So yeah, that definitely has helped me get through all of this struggle. Because as I mentioned, it started ever since I was young, and even when I was in college. I was never diagnosed, but I felt depressed. Like I lost a lot of my hair back in college. Well, for the second time. The first time I was 12, and then the second time in college. And what really got me through was I attended like retreat in daily life in Ateneo. So that really
Ooh,
helped.
RDL, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
So that helped me get through it. So it was really my faith. And back then I identified with Saint Therese.
Oh.
Um, what she said about um, if you what she said about love, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
that got me through, and even through all of my mistakes, like my relationships with men, I constantly need to go back to my relationship with God. That those kinds of relationships aren't the kind that He would want for His daughter. Um, and oftentimes I feel weak, and the Bible verse that gets me through every time, which I also had tattooed on me, is for when I am weak, then I am strong. So
Amen.
even in my weakness, I'm still strong because I have Him, and whenever I cannot anymore, He's there to catch me and solve it for me, take the burden. So I answered your question in a very long way, but yes.
Oh,
No,
that's
no,
it's
no.
perfect.
It's
I think
perfect.
it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Siguro yun. For, so I guess that conflict, or hindi man siya conflict, but I guess this struggle still stands within me. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe you can help me out with this also. But and also you be, Pero like,
Yeah.
how do you connect with somebody? How do you tell somebody na, you know, especially if that person doesn't necessarily subscribe to, the Judeo-Christian faith around, and especially the message of love, na
Mm-hmm.
parang you are worthy of love. That no matter what you do, no matter how many mistakes you make, you have a spot here on this planet, and nothing you can do will ever, like, parang kumbaga um there is undeniable human dignity,
Mm-hmm.
and that people deserve goodness without, I don't know, so medyo sobrang mahirap nga yung tanong ko, so I don't
Oh.
expect like the most concrete or definite answer, pero like, paano?
Actually, I was discussing this with a friend fairly recently, and also one of my mentors talked about it. Um, we watched this video on what's this? Something about the universe,
Mm-hmm.
like how it started and how it will end. And in that video, they said the the possibility of life, like of the Earth coming into being, was like point 0.0000000, so many zeros
Right.
percent. And in a way, that can make us feel insignificant, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if if for most of the life of the universe, the phase where there is life, the period of time where there is an Earth is like so short and small compared to the whole duration of the universe. Then what's the point? If everything is gonna fade away, what's the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but an argument can be made for, because of that small chance or small possibility of life, then it makes it all the more significant. Right?
Yeah, parang
Mm-hmm.
it's special that sobrang liit na nga ng chance na magkaroon ng buhay,
But
Mm-hmm.
it happened.
napunta pa sa'yo,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and nangyari pa rin. So that it's, on one hand, one way of looking at it is, this is, you've already sort of like won the jackpot of life by being born. And
Mm-hmm.
even if, you know, life kind of throws so many different hurdles at you,
You were
You're still
chosen.
you were
standing.
still you still exist.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, I mean, another strong concept, because aside from love that we can all cling on to, is that feeling of joy.
mhm,
And I don't mean joy like happiness, I mean like joy inside.
mhm,
Like if you spend your time like being quiet and then just talk to yourself, like what keeps the fire of joy burning inside you.
mhm,
Doesn't have to be spiritual. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to come from within you, or it doesn't have to be because of you, but
mhm,
can be because of the externals. And then once you see that, I guess, that you have joy inside of you, then maybe you can see also the joy in others and how you relate to them,
mhm,
and just realize that you're not alone in this.
mhm,
And I don't know, maybe I think kasi like the people who doesn't feel loved or doesn't feel their worth, kasi inisip nila na parang, this is me. Um, Nobody can feel the way that I'm feeling now. I don't even have the words on how to express myself. Yan. But a lot of people do not have that kind of courage, and a lot of people don't also know how to express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can just, in the same way, I think we relate to each other's struggles, and then so we relate to each other's joy then.
mhm.
But yeah.
Hirap. Sorry, I
Ang
posed a
hirap.
difficult
It
question.
it is a
Sorry, my
difficult
bad.
question, but
Yeah.
I don't think naman there is just one answer to it, Patrick. I
Yes,
think the answer could be different for each
everybody.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
It may be true now and then false tomorrow for me, or it can be true to you, true to Joe, but false
Mm,
to me.
yeah. Some of the different ways that I've attacked this is by, well, from one aspect, it's a practicality thing na parang
Mm,
life's hard enough as it is.
mm,
And for you, parang there's a lot of things that we can't control and we will inevitably experience all throughout our lives, repeatedly even. So
mm,
things like disappointment, frustration, failure, rejection, illness, injury, conflict, hostility, grief, fear, anxiety, anger, sadness, guilt, loss, loneliness, health issues, financial issues, relationship issues, work issues. And so parang, do we really complicate all of that by not being kind to ourselves pa?
mhm.
So that's, I guess, one aspect na parang let's parang, is it really worth making it hard, is it really worth making your life harder, or would you just rather kind of be the first person to treat yourself with kindness?
Yeah, but in order to get to that, I guess kailangan mo muna gumawa ng space.
True. Yeah. Also.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Like you have like you're nakasikip na ng mundo mo eh. Ang dami mo ng like all of the things that you mentioned. Ang
Dami.
dami nun eh.
Dami pala nun.
All of the things that you mentioned. And then I think it was also one of my retreats din eh. Ang sinabi din ng
Mm.
spiritual directors ko was like it's okay, you don't have to eliminate anything, or you don't have to like let go of these things and kumbaga parang hindi mo papansinin itong mga like negative things. But what
Mm-hmm.
you can do is create a space
Mm-hmm.
for you to breathe and
Mm-hmm.
address it one by one, or just create a space for all of the positive things naman,
Yeah.
so that to create that balance, and then maybe I mean parang deal with it one by one
Mm-hmm.
and acknowledge na okay,
Yeah.
mag-isa lang ako, I'm gonna treat this one first.
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah, you can
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
create the space.
So parang, I don't know, I guess that's a little bit like, or that is pretty much mindfulness in the sense that you know,
Mm.
you expand around all the difficulty that life throws at you. You don't reject them, you don't
Mm.
try to run away from them, well, as much as possible. And you just make space and you acknowledge that you have limits, but you, within your limits, you will address each and every
Mm.
single thing that you can, that, or that is within your power. Pero yun nga eh, parang self-worth. Such a tricky, delicate thing, really. But
Mm.
again, I'm glad, even if it's such a tricky and delicate thing, I'm glad that our guest today has just come to this point where parang, yes, it comes from me. It's not from anybody else. It's
Mm-hmm.
not my job that defines me. It's not my relationship that defines me. It's not my background or my history that defines me. I defined me.
Mhm.
And well, also, God's love defines me also.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yon.
amen to that.
Amen.
Amen to that. Um, Probably it
Sige,
also
B.
stems with a decision din eh. It's a decision thing. It's not just a
Mhm.
feeling thing. Na parang self-worth can also come from you deciding or choosing
Mhm.
yourself.
Mhm.
Piliin mo yung sarili mo, I guess. And
Yep.
then that, I think, is the first step of, defining or getting that sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
Because you value yourself.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Like in
Um.
Agree.
specific situations. In specific situations.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Joe, I have a
Yep.
question. Do you find that part of how of the, I guess, the decision to find your worth in yourself is acknowledging that you have that, I'm gonna call it a power, or that you can assert that amount of, I guess, control, or you can make control in the sense that you can make that decision for yourself na parang, yes, I've done these things and I've made these mistakes, and I've taken my value and my esteem from these things before, but now I know and acknowledge that I don't have to let those things define me, and thus I will let myself define myself.
Yeah. Sorry, the question is.
So parang is it part of it na parang having or acknowledging that you have that control? Or kasi parang there, for some people kasi they feel that
Mhm,
I can imagine that they feel that they don't have control, that
mhm,
they're kind of just surrendered to or resigned to the
mm.
fact that they have very, very little control over their lives. So,
Okay, I get
yun.
you
Is
now.
it
Like
is it
things
part
are
of
just
it?
happening, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Definitely, I had to be accountable for my choices and accountable for where um I wanted to take my life. But first was really accountability. That in those mistakes, I couldn't blame those mistakes on anyone else. I couldn't um fool myself into thinking that I was a victim and I had no part in those mistakes. I had to own those mistakes. So as you said, it's control and also um the admitting and the admitting of accountability. Um that I had a part and a role to play in all of those mistakes, and therefore I also was accountable for where I wanted to take my life moving forward. And with that also comes forgiveness, which I struggled with, um, and not being able to forgive myself also led to anger towards other people. So if we don't have, if I didn't come to a place of peace, forgiveness, for the things that happened to me, and then also forgiveness for my role in it, forgiveness for how my life turned out, then I wouldn't also have been able to let go of that anger or even have the strength to still have hope for the future, for what else my life can be. So yeah, control, yes, power, yes, kindness to oneself, definitely, and compassion and forgiveness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, I wanna point out because you mentioned the power and everything, diba? I wanna also point out that you use the words letting go,
forgiveness,
acknowledging forgiveness, being
accountability.
accountable for it, and I think it reminds me of this. I think it's a spiritual sorry, it's an Ignatian principle, the spirituality of surrender, of
Mm-hmm.
letting go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's beautiful that you have that kind of ano ba, perspective, and you have that drive to acknowledge and forgive, let go and gain control at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But I don't wanna make myself appear to be like some perfect person because I am definitely
Oh,
not.
that is
Um,
very human. That
Yeah,
is very human.
absolutely.
and to this day, as I said, I still struggle with a lot of things, and
As we all
but
do.
these are the lessons I have learned, which I still tell myself. So there are still days where I have to tell myself to let things go, to be accountable, and to like have presence. You guys mentioned a while ago mindfulness, so
Yeah.
it's also very much a part of it, like not getting ahead of ourselves and being present um, in wherever we are or whatever is in front of us.
What I'm taking from
Yeah,
this, I think, is that the journey to sorry, there's a baby in the background.
it's
The
okay. Yeah.
journey to the journey to, I guess, developing a beautiful and strong sense of self starts with, continues with, and ends with, hindi man ends, it's a never ending thing, but it's a
As
continual
it's
choice.
mm,
It's a continual choice to acknowledge that, hello, doggy. It's a continual choice to forgive yourself and to it's a choice to acknowledge that you have that power to forgive yourself, to love yourself, to be responsible or to be accountable for all of the things, for all of the choices that you make, um not just with how you love yourself but how you respond to the things that I guess life throws at you. So I guess in a way this is also like a perspective thing na parang, I can choose to, or I can put on the lens of being, ah I don't want to say this, but I guess this is the most succinct way of saying it, but like I can choose to be the victim of every single circumstance and all of the things that life throws at me, and just be passive about how I respond to things, but or rather maybe acknowledge that I'm not just, ano ba, I'm not an audience member, or I'm not just an observer of my life, but rather a participant, or like I can take active, I can participate actively in my life, and acknowledge that I have that. I may not have as much that much control, but at the very least I can control how I respond to the things that happen. And I guess take
Mm-hmm.
my cue from there. Huh.
huh. Okay, I have a
I'm
practical
learning.
question, diba? Yay! Okay, practical question for Joe. So, during the times na nahuhuli mo yung sarili mo, maybe going against that principle, or you mentioned like doing the same mistakes pa din, or being able to encounter such, let's maybe call it patterns, ganyan. What
Mm-hmm.
do you do? Anong ginagawa mo just to steer yourself back in that direction that you want, your life lesson?
Mm-hmm. So, because of my wounds, it attracts me to certain things, and you're right to call it a pattern. Um, and sometimes I do find myself still in the same situation. But what I do is first to tell myself that, to acknowledge that, oops, this is the same situation as before. You have been through this already. Um, so it's also telling myself, and just being um, aware and conscious that you're about to make the same mistakes. And then um, I pray. Um, Faith is a very big part of my life. So um, I ask for help because I know I cannot do it by myself. I can't fight this thing by myself. Then I'm also very lucky because I have a community. Um, I can ask help from. I have also my family and my friends who don't tire from listening to me talk about the same things over and over again. So I do have that support system. So it's really asking for help because, and the acknowledgement that while I have become stronger, I'm strongest with my faith and with the loving people around me. So there, they just tell me that again, you're worth much more than this, or um, this is not the kind of thing that you want to be in again, things like that. Yeah, that's what I do. It has been helpful.
That's great. Yeah. No, yes, Patrick.
Sige, ka muna, B.
No, I was gonna say na even the steps is very mindful pa din, and it's very
Yes,
careful.
actually. Mm-mm.
Very careful and very mindful. And yeah, I think um it's not easy probably for a lot of people to arrive to that kind of mindfulness or to have that kind of ano ba action. Parang pangit yung action. Ano ba? I say
I
that
think let's call it an action because as
yeah,
we
it's an
Yeah.
action or a decision maybe to do this and decide this and think this way and be really careful with the next steps that you're gonna make coming
Mhm.
from these learnings and stuff. And so yeah, I mean it probably takes time. And yun nga sinabi mo nga di ba from you we went back from your childhood and stuff na parang I think all of these experience then led you to become who you are now and how you think, how you make your decisions.
Yeah, it was as I said a very long road,
Yeah.
but life happens as it should. So
Mm-hmm. And
thankful and glad
yeah.
to be here. This is so surreal. I'm sharing my life experience on a radio show.
Okay lang.
And
Anonymous naman.
thank you for dropping by our stream.
I know. I know.
Our live stream and our live stream.
Oh,
Aw, I'm so
yeah.
glad to be here also. Thank you
We are
guys.
so glad that you're here too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I guess, sige, for anybody who might need this, who's listening in today,
Mhm.
um, you're a human being, and as a human being, you will make mistakes. Um, it's also normal that when you make mistakes, you will have painful thoughts and feelings, and life will get difficult. When we get rejected, um, it will be harsh, but at the end of the day, making mistakes is part of being a human being. We are imperfect by nature, and but that doesn't define us. Um, we have the ability. You have the ability to make a choice and to direct yourself back into what it is that makes your life, your individual life, meaningful. Um, it's hard. Life is hard. Life is stressful. Life is full of stuff. Can't say that word on air. But you make it, you can make whatever you want of your own life because that's on you. It's yours. And plus, God loves you, and you are worth
Amen.
more than what you think or how you feel. So,
Yeah.
yun lang. Ah!
Ah,
Amen.
amen to that. That was beautiful, Patrick. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, it's time to
Thank you.
cry. But
I know.
yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you for being our friend
Yeah,
today.
yeah. I think like, my key takeaway for this episode that we have is like, I'm not gonna repeat everything that we said already, but I think my key takeaway is, life is full of ands and buts, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Love it.
but you there are things that like ends and buts that you can control and you can choose.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah. Let's not cry on air.
Joe, any last things that you wanna share? Maybe like a final send off message for our viewers today. Kahit wala,
Um,
okay lang naman.
I
Pero kung
suppose
meron, that'd be beautiful.
I suppose as you guys also have said, it's just a continuous um forgiveness and loving of yourself. Um, not to say that you excuse yourself from all the quote all the mistakes or the bad things.
Yeah.
It's still being accountable for those. But knowing that even with those, you're still a person of value, of
Amen.
you're beloved, and you're worthy. That's it. That's it really. And just
Yeah.
thank you guys so much for letting me be
Thank
here.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you, Joel.
Iyakan na tayo ulit.
Di naman tayo in-inform na kailangan ng tissue sa episode na to.
This is what happens when we don't plan things, B.
But this is a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, same.
Tears and
Same.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Very
Joe,
beautiful for me.
Aw.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Shift muna. Host mode ulit.
Ahon.
Sige. Thanks for joining us today, Joe, and thank you for being here, B. Thank you,
thank
Justin,
you.
for vetting our guest today. But also, sige, I said would have an announcement. And sige, okay. Ito muna, you call for strangers. So guys,
Yes.
again, if there's a lot for us to learn, even as experts, quote unquote. And we'd love to hear from you. So if you
Mhm.
have anything you feel like would be meaningful, or maybe not even meaningful to share, but you just like you feel like you have something to say, and you
Yep.
want to be here with us, feel free to do so. You can reach us
Yep.
at facebook.com/Radio Katipunan. Wala na palang 879. Radio Katipunan lang pala.
Mhm.
You can reach us through DM or also through email at radiokatipunan@gmail.com.
Yep.
And yeah, we look forward to learning and hearing from and learning from you. Also, it's November, which means that next week is 11/11. Lol. So ito na. As you can see, or maybe not see, but I'm wearing a nice, Worship
Oops,
Gen
careful.
shirt. Nice Worship
Yes.
Gen shirt. Care of our friend, the friend of the show, Kirk, who is
Yay,
the
Kurt.
owner and founder and CEO and president and
The
Lord of
all-around guy.
Lord of
Lord
Lord
of
of Worship
WG.
Gen. So they're having a sale also on their on Shopee and on Lazada. So you can find their stuff on sale there. The mechanics of which I'll let you find out on your own. Basta naka-sale yung stuff na natin.
Mhm.
Yon. Be anything on promo end?
Promo and I don't know, doesn't we have like a sale din sa Tanging Yaman? But
This
yeah, do check
sale.
out.
Okay, yeah.
There, yeah. But yeah, ano pa ba? What na tayo
Events.
promote eh?
Okay.
Nan
Come on,
naman daw.
events.
Events. Okay, events. We are working on another concert, 'di ba? Katatapos lang ng concert, may bago na naman.
Alright.
Okay. So this is actually a very exciting concert because it's a Christmas concert. So this is
Ooh.
a collaboration with Arete of Ateneo de
Okay.
Manila and Jesuit Communications, Jesuit Music Ministry,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be entitled The Third Noel. So yun muna.
Ah.
It's like a teaser for those of you who have attended probably the past concerts in at the
Mhm.
Arete. Yeah, so it's sort of kind of gonna be like that, but in a different space, in a digital space, because we don't
Ooh.
have a choice. But it's exciting. Yeah, so we'll leave you with more details then, but it's gonna be
Mhm.
streamed on this page, Radyo Katipunan, Jesuit Communications, Arete, Ateneo de Manila, all of the usual social media partners.
Mhm.
And it's gonna be streamed on December 11th, 7:30
Ooh.
in the evening.
Mhm.
And just follow the pages. I'm pretty sure that we'll be releasing a lot of
Uh-uh.
announcements and teasers soon. So
Okay.
yeah, we're very excited about
Mhm.
that. I hope you guys can tune in.
Yep. Also,
We have
again,
a
sige, sorry.
sige, go
Lots of
ahead, go
things.
ahead, go ahead.
Yes. Also, lastly, again, on November 20 to the 22nd will be the first ever Feast Conference. Uh, we've always been having the Kerygma Conference, but now it's the Feast Conference, and it's the first one ever where we're bringing everybody, all of the feast attendees, not just in the Philippines but all around the world. So catch
Mhm.
that online. So just go to feastconference.com. I am one of their on-demand speakers. So I have a talk entitled "How Are You? A Guide on Self-Awareness and Mental Health." I think is the title of my talk. Lol,
Or
we
something like
memorize.
that.
Yes, Josh,
Yes,
thank
yes.
you. And then, yeah, excited to see you there. It's more
Mm.
details on the
That's it.
feastconference.com. Yun lang. Wala na? Okay. So this has been MindEd, your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits. My name is Pat.
And this is B. I am just a letter. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Good night. Spirit fingers, Patrick. Your favorite part. Yay! Okay. Are we leaving now? I think we are. 3, 2, 1.
Let us understand mental health and explore how we can take care of our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Welcome to your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits with Pat and B, here on MindEd.
Sa'yo sumisilong kapag ang puso